Hey everybody, we're back. We are live. It is Saturday. Yes, Saturday, not Thursday, because we had to change the schedule around. But it's another episode of This Week in Pro Wrestling. Jeffrey, introduce yourself for us, please.
Once again, it is me, the J to the E to the double F free. I'm Jeffrey Harris. He's Mike Sandoval, and we're back on This Week in Pro Wrestling. Let's get ready to rumble.
And there wasn't anybody getting fired from WWE this week, so we're all good.
Well, thank you, WWE, for not firing more people. But there's still plenty to talk about. Yeah,
I know, but I was a little concerned that this was going to be another week of us talking about people getting let go from WWE
because it was happening like every week, and then it's been happening fairly regularly since April. They had the and then people were quitting before then, because then we had Andrade before that, and now we see where Andrade's ended up. And when did Andrade didn't leave that long ago? So
it was literally like 30 days, maybe less.
I'm trying to pin it. When exactly did he quit? It was March, I believe.
March, yeah.
Okay, but that's still not a long time.
Nuh-uh. Not at
considering he was still a part of the WWE roster at the start of this year, and we're not even midway into June, so there's still a lot going on.
Exactly. So let's kick off This Week in Pro Wrestling with SummerSlam. Finally got announced at where was it? In New York?
Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. They announced it at the Belmont Stakes.
Yep.
So I don't know what. I don't know why they use Belmont Stakes to announce this, other than
it's NBC
Universal. It was on NBC Universal, and NBC Universal is one of WWE's major broadcasting and streaming partners. But it's just that when you think WWE, you don't think horse racing, you know?
No, I would think a lot of other things, especially in the 90s and maybe early 2000s, but not horse racing.
I mean, if you're a WWE fan, I can see you having some crossover fandom into baseball, into football, or things like that. But horse racing.
Yeah. I still to this minute cannot understand why they promoted it in horse racing.
Now, is horse racing still very popular, Mike?
It depends on where you're at. Like, I think Florida and here it's still popular because you still get a good amount of people coming to the track. I don't know what it's like across the country, but I know there's been a lot of controversy with horse racing over the last 2 years, 3 years.
Okay, so here's the gist of it. SummerSlam 2021 is official. Most of the rumors that we were hearing from the reliable sources were correct. You know, when I say reliable, I think Andrew Zarian and okay, Mike too, with the Andrew Zarian with Matt Men Pro Wrestling, Wrestle Votes, and of course Mike Sandoval. Okay, so here we go. So it'll be on it's gonna be on a Saturday this year. The same night in Las Vegas, they're holding a Floyd Mayweather fight. Oh no, not Pacquiao versus Errol Spence is the fight. So those are going to be on the same night on Saturday, August 21st. Supposedly, they are going to end SummerSlam, so the SummerSlam main card will be over before the boxing match with Pacquiao starts. Pacquiao, not Mayweather. They are looking to draw a sellout crowd of 72,000 people. It's at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada. They are reportedly looking to make it as big as WrestleMania this year, because WrestleMania was still held during pandemic restrictions, and they could only have like 20,000 fans at Raymond James in Tampa. And so this is where this is the new home of the Oakland Raiders in Vegas. So this is also the Saturday before CinemaCon, the following week in Las Vegas. And so your thoughts moving SummerSlam to a Saturday night, Mike, and in Las Vegas, Nevada at a stadium. This is the first SummerSlam at a stadium since SummerSlam 1992, which was in Wembley Stadium in London. That was British Bulldog versus Bret Hart, and Macho Man Randy Savage versus Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah.
So we're almost 30 years. It took 29 years for them to do another stadium for SummerSlam.
Exactly, and it's a good choice. I like the choice, not just because of the ease of freaking being there while we're in the conventions when we're gonna be in a convention. But yeah, I like the choice. I like the choice. New stadium that you get a feature,
Mm-hmm.
especially in a big event like this. So I think that's a good idea. I think it's a great choice.
This
Tickets go
stadium
on sale.
cost $1.9 billion.
Yeah, tickets to go on sale this Friday.
Okay.
So you're gonna be able to pick up your tickets for that this Friday. It's I w- I've been to SoFi Stadium. I was able to finally walk into
Right.
it with construction completely done on Thursday, and it is nice. And I'm really curious to see how Allegiant Stadium looks like
All right.
because when I was inside the stadium at the 400 level, because the 300 levels where you walk in, it's at the 300 level, and I was looking at the stadium and I was like, if you get the 500 level seats, you're AOL. As a, you're shit out of luck on this one because of the fact that it is so high at SoFi Stadium.
I
When you
sent
go
you
inside the stadium.
a photo link of Allegiant,
No,
so
cool.
people can see where it's going to be.
Definitely will share it. And that's the one thing that I gotta say is that Summers like WrestleMania at SoFi is gonna be amazing to see.
We're still now, just so everyone knows, WrestleMania was supposed to be at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood
Hmm.
this year, but of course, pandemic, COVID. We've been dealing with COVID,
Yeah.
so WrestleMania instead was at Tampa, Florida, at Raymond James, where it was supposed to be last year.
Hmm. Yeah.
Next year, WrestleMania will be in Dallas, Texas, or Arlington at AT&T Stadium,
Hmm.
where the Cowboys play. And so WrestleMania 39 will now be SoFi, I believe.
Yeah. Yes. So that's why I'm trying to get what it would be like at a Legion. And it's really hard. Like every picture that I've ever seen of inside Allegiant Stadium looks a lot different
Oh,
than
I have the seating chart, which
yeah,
I can send you.
definitely. Because that's send it over so I could put that up. Because that's the thing that's kind of different is the fact that I think the Allegiant Stadium looks different. Like I think it's laid out differently, and I think it's not as high
Yeah.
as SoFi.
So Ticketmaster has already revealed the ticketing layout because tickets go on sale very soon. So let's see, Friday, June 18th, and there's going to be a pre-sale. So tickets go on sale very shortly in just a few
Mhm.
days, because if you count the pre-sale. So I sent you the Ticketmaster. This is the layout from Ticketmaster.com, so people can see what we're talking about.
Mhm. Oh, so the
Yeah, that must have been the early pre-sale.
yeah, that must
Early
be the
pre-sales are.
pre-sale.
So scroll down. So there
There
we
we
go.
go.
So that's what we're looking at for summer. So
So they're gonna use the backdrop where
mhm.
the Al Davis torch is at with the opening into the city as a backdrop. It looks like.
So, but my understanding is they could possibly let more seats in this set. Like they
Yeah,
could open it up to more seats.
because I don't think that's 70,000.
Okay.
Just
So
by the look at it, I don't think that's 70,000 seats available.
the building holds about 65,000 fans at full capacity, and apparently more can be opened up. This is what Ticketmaster is showing us for right now.
Yeah.
And so the official ticket sale date is Friday, but these must have been for like early pre-sale business.
Yeah, I guess that will be sometime soon.
Okay. Do you think they'll be able to sell it out though?
I think they will. I think they will be able to if they keep it like this configuration. I think even if they open up more seats, it's going to be easily able to sell out.
Hey Nathan Rita, I see you. Thanks for the shout out. We're talking WWE SummerSlam right now, which will be in Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas this August. So it'll be a Saturday. Do you like it being on a Saturday the same night as a Pacquiao fight
Well,
in
it's
Vegas?
actually well. Here's the thing: none of the WWE pay-per-views ever go
Yeah.
past 8:30.
Right. For us
And
on the West Coast.
yeah,
Yeah.
and exactly, and that's fine because the fight, like the Pacquiao main event fight, probably won't start till 9.
Yeah.
So you're going from
Boxing
1 o'clock
fights
to 9.
always boxing pay-per-view fights always start late. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so you're going right in. So this is gonna lead right into the main event, which is cool, which is great. You could even come see this and jump over to go see the main event at MGM.
but will that hurt their attendance, you think?
Nah, it won't hurt their
Okay.
attendance. Two different types of fans.
Now, from your experience, what area do you think is the best? Like, where do you want to sit basically for an event like this?
For
I
an
feel
event
like
like
if you, because I went to WrestleMania at the Astrodome, and I would say if you're going for floor seats, you want to be like within the first, you want to be within the first 10, 15 rows.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you want, I would say lower level is the best. But what do you think?
Like I would go for anywhere in the 100 level seating.
Yeah.
Definitely, because you're gonna see everything.
Yeah.
If you're on the floor, you better get section 1, 7, 4, or 10 or 9. Because
Now,
once you get to the back, like these 14, 15, 16s, these last rows, it's
mhm.
gonna be very difficult to see unless they have them on a razor.
Now I'm going to tell you, I think for UFC, I think almost sitting in the upper deck is better because of the cage, because of the octagon.
Yeah.
If you're upper deck for like UFC, you have a better view of the action because you can because you're kind of elevated and you can see inside the cage, inside the octagon, and what's going on better. And I just think it's a better view if you're watching UFC MMA fights, because wrestling they're in a ring, they don't always have a cage raised around everyone. So okay, so that's some good advice.
But the one thing I find it odd in this layout, so they're going to be coming out of a tunnel underneath section 120, 121. That's where they're going to be walking out. Why didn't they utilize like this?
Wait, so the entrance is not going to be in that grayed out area?
It's going to be right here. No, it's going to be right here.
Why would you do that?
I don't know. That
looks like it would be, if that's the entranceway, that looks like it would be a small entrance.
Yeah, let me zoom that in right now.
That looks like it would be a small entrance set, wouldn't it?
Yeah. You're going by, let's say right here, 112, 134 is like the 50-yard line. You're looking at the 30-yard line and where they're coming in.
So if you're leaving you're leaving like half this, you're leaving like a third of the stadium out.
Exactly.
Why would you?
One thing I don't get. Like, if this is supposed to be, and this is what they're tagging it as.
Okay.
WrestleMania, and this is for our podcast listeners. You're not going to be able to see this, so we're going to describe it as best as we possibly can. But if you're calling this a WrestleMania level type of event,
right?
From this seating chart and the org chart, this does not look like a WrestleMania style event. This is like WrestleMania back when it was in Madison Square Garden and they had that center entrance.
If you're doing a tunnel, if you're doing like a little tiny tunnel like Madison Square Garden for a stadium show, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But is it possible they could change it?
It's possible.
Ugh.
It's possible, but
that'd be underwhelming.
Like me, I wouldn't go, like I would build a stage that isn't that high up to above 200.
Okay.
Up to 200 level. So after you make sure that you clear out that back section, which is facing towards the Las Vegas Strip, you have the window open and you're able to see outside into the strip. I think that would make it visually, camera wise, it would be the best look you'll ever see.
Okay, so John Cena was asked in an interview by Tara Hitchcock about August 21st, and he was asked, "What are you going to be doing on that?" And he's like, "I don't know. Hopefully, enjoying the summer in Vegas, perhaps. What's in Vegas? I heard there's something called SummerSlam. Oh, haha! That was a good way to do that. So, Cena going to be at SummerSlam, Mike?
That's the rumor that I'm hearing. I'm hearing Cena Roman Reigns for SummerSlam. which I don't know why they would even. That's even the rumor, but okay.
Cena, Roman Reigns. Okay, because they're doing right now. They're doing Roman Reigns versus Rey Mysterio,
Hmm.
and supposedly Cena is going to show up in
Okay, we'll see.
July when they return to touring on SmackDown. So, if he's going to be on that SmackDown show, maybe they do set up a match with Roman Reigns. So,
Yeah, yeah,
and then apparently they want Roman Reigns versus The Rock at WrestleMania.
yeah.
I don't know if they'll be able to
Um,
make that happen.
exactly, and that's the thing. Like, if you follow the Rock's socials, you notice that he was at Universal Studios Hollywood on Thursday, walking around with his daughters.
Yeah.
So he's a busy man, and they're
He's
shooting
filming
Black
Black
Adam
Ad-
right now.
he's doing Black Adam.
Yeah.
When is he
So
going to have time? I mean, I guess he could make time,
it isn't like he's out of shape.
but he's the busiest man in Hollywood right now.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
So I don't know how he's gonna find time to do it. Maybe it won't be till Hollywood LA in 2023 because it's like he's busy. He has a lot of stuff on his plate.
okay. So both multiple outlets are reporting they do want Cena versus Roman Reigns at SummerSlam for the main event. So, I wonder if they can make that happen because Cena's a pretty busy man too these days.
Exactly.
He's got a lot on his plate, and
Hmm.
so does The Rock. But after they've fired like half the roster, they don't have a lot of main event options. I mean,
Exactly.
they fired Braun Strowman, who was a Universal Champion and was a main eventer and title contender. So I mean, they're firing title contenders now.
Exactly. And that's what makes me wonder about the card. Like who's gonna be fighting for the women's championship? Since there's only 7 women on SmackDown right now.
Right. Well,
And
I guess they could do Bailey or Sasha or something.
Carmella again.
Uh, okay, so let's go through the week in wrestling.
Yes,
Any big
definitely.
take any big takeaways from Raw this week?
It's still kind of flat to me.
What do you think of Lily the doll and Shayna?
It's a little more interesting, but it still falls flat. This whole thing still falls flat to me, and this Alexa Bliss thing, they just got to end it already. I don't know where they're going with it.
I have no
I don't know
idea.
how they're gonna push it, what they're gonna do with it. I have no clue. It's time to end it. If you don't know where you're going, out to pasture and bring Alexa Bliss back the way she was.
Let's see what else. So, what do you think's happening with Randy Orton and Riddle? Do you think they'll become tag team champions or what? Do you think they're going to keep this duo going for a while?
Yeah, they're gonna keep it for a while. And they're gonna make them tag team champions eventually. I don't think it's gonna be now anytime soon. Probably towards the fall. You'll probably see them get a belt.
But the Viking Raiders did finally pick up a win on
Yeah,
Raw.
yeah,
Now, look, no offense to the Viking Raiders, but I remember when do you remember these guys used to be called War Machine and they were like
yep,
really tough. They were like really tough, badasses, and now they're kind of very sanitized, watered down. Now they're the Viking Raiders, but they're getting a tag team title shot next week, so
mm.
I don't think they're going to beat AJ Styles and Omos. So
No, I don't think so. I I used to like War Machine so much, and then they got watered down from WWE, and it really hurts me to see them like
they were a great tag team.
they were really good, especially in Ring of Honor. They were destroying that division.
Okay, so Matt Riddle beat Kofi Kingston beat Matt Riddle on Raw. Okay, so let's get into here's NXT for
Hmm.
Tuesday night. So we have a show. We have a show like every night of the week now.
Pretty much, pretty much. But
Okay,
NXT this week was actually really enjoyable. I like the
NXT is a good show.
yeah.
So
So the
yeah,
one thing I do want to ask you before we really go into this card, and we'll select this one. What do you think they're doing with Cameron Grimes and LA Knight on this this pay-per-view.
Oh,
I
okay. So
love that pop.
they're doing the ladder match. They brought back the $1 million title. I do
Mhm.
like what they're doing with the $1 million title. I think this has been a good storyline
Yeah, I think so
for
too. It's a
everyone.
lot of fun, and I like the way they're playing it off.
So
So
we got the return of the $1 million title. They had that little ceremony, and it's going to be, and they set up the ladder match for tomorrow.
mhm.
So I think Cameron Grimes has to win this, though.
Yeah, I'm
As
thinking
much
so.
as I like LA Knight, and I think they kind of jobbed him a little too much, but
Yeah.
Cameron, like they've been building up Cameron Grimes for a while, so I feel like this is the perfect payoff for him.
Oh, well, I agree. I agree. And if LA Knight wins, I'm not going to be disappointed, but I
Let's
think
say I'll
Cameron
be
got.
surprised.
Yeah, exactly. And especially
Okay,
with the way they've been using him, I think they're going to give it to Cameron Grimes.
so we had Dakota Kai versus Ember Moon.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, ended in disqualification. We had the face off with the 5 challengers for the Fatal 5 Way, and we have a pretty good card for In Your House this weekend.
I agree.
It's a good looking card,
Hmm.
and even though it's a shorter lineup, it NXT, you're gonna get nonstop action. I mean, we did the NXT Takeover Night 2 during WrestleMania weekend. That was a really good show.
Yeah. You
So
know what's great about NXT too is that yeah, it's going to be a shorter lineup,
mhm.
but I can guarantee you're going to get a better show than to have a full lineup and everything like that. I think this is going to be a better show.
Okay, here was the other big development on NXT this week. We had the return of Io Shirai,
Hmm.
who was so they had this celebrity appearance by Poppy, the singer. So Poppy's new album is sort of they're presenting it as a soundtrack for NXT, and then Poppy brought out Io Shirai, who came back. So we're
Is
happy to
it
see
sad?
Io Shirai back.
Is it sad that I don't even know who in the world Poppy was?
I I'm not even familiar. I've heard of her, and I knew she was
Mhm.
doing stuff with NXT, but I don't really listen. I don't really listen to her music.
Yeah.
So
I thought.
she's getting into. So now Io Shirai is back, and she's getting into it with Candice LeRae.
Mhm.
Any thoughts on that? We
Not
got
really.
Io Shirai. Okay,
I think it's great to see Yo come in, but I'm curious to see where they're going to take that direction with her now that she's back.
and now Zia Lee. They're going to have her feud with Mercedes Martinez, the kind of the revamped Zia Lee.
Yeah.
Okay, so then let's move right along. So we also had SmackDown this week.
Mhm.
So now we are getting Rey Mysterio versus Roman Reigns at Hell in a Cell. So they've set that up. Shinsuke Nakamura versus Baron Corbin is still going. So they set up next week. They're going to have a battle for the crown. That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's good. But also, I kind of like the way this gimmick has
I
been.
was being sarcastic.
Well, yeah, but I kind of like the way the gimmick has been.
Hmm.
It's kind of dumb, but yet funny.
Liv Morgan beat Carmella. I mean, look, Liv Morgan is good. Maybe she can
Yeah,
be someone to feud with Bianca Belair.
yeah, I agree. And I barely noticed yesterday during yesterday's show her wrap that's around her leg
Hmm.
as Rue.
What's wrong with her leg, though?
Nothing. It's a part of her costume, but it has
Oh,
Ruby Riot's
oh, okay. Oh,
name
paying,
there.
she was paying tribute to.
Yeah, for the last 2 weeks she's had that.
Man, that makes me sad.
Yeah, because
Ruby
I
Riot
think
was good.
yeah, I think that
She
could have been something big, and could have been something worked out, even
she
tag.
deserve both those women deserve better, but Ruby especially now that she's been let go. Okay, so here is the other big development from SmackDown. Chad Gable is now completely clean shaven. Chad Gable ditching the beard. That was a hot topic of discussion on the social medias last night. Wrestled Montez Ford. Excuse me, or Montez Ford wrestled Chad Gable, and then Otis attacked, and then they sent Montez Ford to the hospital with broken ribs, as the storyline goes. So, but what did you think of Otis with his new clean shaven look? Have you seen it
Uh,
yet?
Yeah, I saw it. It looks kind of awkward to me. It just doesn't
It's
look
weird.
good.
It's weird when you see a person and you've only seen them with the beard, and then you see him clean
Mhm.
shaven. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, it kind of like was like okay.
Mandy Rose did not like it. She tweeted an unhappy emoji reaction. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's weird. Shinsuke Nakamura, who they haven't done a lot with in a while, and now he's feuding with Baron Corbin over the King of the Ring crown.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's something for him to do. I just remember though, Nakamura came in with so much momentum from
Yeah.
NXT, and then he got to the main roster. He floundered a little bit. And then they had him win Royal Rumble. Then they had him feud with AJ, and he turned heel. And I don't know. It just feels like he's lost some luster since then.
Yeah. I think they don't know what to do with him or what to do with his character. Like if in the next 3 months we hear that he's on a list, it wouldn't shock me at this point.
Okay, so now we have Roman Reigns versus Rey Mysterio is official for Hell in a Cell. I mean, they're having. I guess Mysterio's getting up there, but he hasn't wrestled Roman Reigns too much, has he? I don't know. I don't
No,
think
he
they've.
hasn't. I
So I
think he's
guess
only supposed to
it's
one or
I
twice.
guess it's a newer matchup at least. But what do you think?
Um, I don't know. I just don't. This is already like if you're a fan and you're gonna if they're trying to get you to watch on Peacock
Mm-hmm.
Hell in a Cell, this match doesn't gets me. Wouldn't want me. I wouldn't want to watch it because he's already to me. I already know Roman Reigns is gonna win,
Okay.
especially the way they built him up with
Right.
what's going on, and
It's a
especially the
stop.
way.
This is a stopgap.
Yeah, exactly. And this is gonna be for because what pay per views after Hell in the Cell? Money in the Bank.
Right.
So
Yes.
this is setting up for like this is the last match and that he's gonna have to wrestle that isn't going anywhere, and the next and
All
this is
right.
gonna set up now who's he gonna fight at
This
Summer.
is going to be, I guess, the last one at the Thunderdome, and then Money in
Hmm.
the Bank will be in front of live fans. So
Yeah, yeah,
transitional. It's transitional.
hmm exactly.
So here's what else we have for Hell in a Cell. Hell in a Cell title match between Lashley and Drew McIntyre. See another Drew Mc. They could have done Kofi Kingston versus Lashley, and that would have been a
Hmm.
fresh matchup. But instead, we're doing Drew McIntyre versus Lashley again.
Isn't this a third pay per view now?
I th- I guess I think if you count WrestleMania Backlash, yes,
Yeah.
because WrestleMania Backlash was May,
Hmm.
but they've wrestled. I think they've wrestled on Raw too multiple times, haven't they?
Yeah.
I feel like
Almost
they
every
have.
week. Every week it seems
They're
like
always
they're
mixing
doing
it
it.
up. Okay, so if McIntyre loses, he cannot challenge for the title again while Lashley is champion. That's not a big deal. It's like
Exactly.
because no one's the champion forever. So if Lashley loses, then like bada bing, he can wrestle for the title again. Big whoop.
Exactly.
Okay. Raw Women's title, it will be Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair.
Hmm.
I mean, that's a decent enough matchup.
Yeah,
You
it's
always
okay.
you always got to have Charlotte Flair in the title mix, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because of
And
Flair.
okay, and for the SmackDown Women's title, it will be Bianca Belair versus Bayley, and that should be a good match.
Yeah, that should be. That should be.
Okay, all right. So now let's go to Dynamite. First of all, since we had last week's show was before it happened, so El Idolo Andrade is now officially signed to AEW. Thoughts on Andrade debuting in AEW, signing with AEW? Now it's official. Even though he's already scheduled to wrestle Kenny Omega at Triple Mania in August, now we have him in AEW as well.
I think it's a good thing to have him in AEW. It could build up anything that he's doing outside of the promotion as well. But also too, if you saw the promo last night,
Yeah,
it's a good promo. It really gets you excited to see what he's gonna do in the at AEW. And I'm just hoping that they use him right. But here's the thing: AEW has been using the wrestlers very well.
for the most part.
Yeah, especially the Latino wrestlers. They get a lot of television time.
Yes.
So that's something that probably is gonna help Andrade a lot.
But what did you think of how they executed Andrade's first segment on Dynamite? Because first it was an interview with Mark Henry, who's now
Mhm.
part of AEW
Yeah.
as a broadcaster and will likely wrestle later on. Then we had Vicky Guerrero doing the excuse me shtick. Then we had Andrade coming out.
Mhm.
Um, Fans were there, and it was a live show for that show.
Mhm.
But it seemed like they kind of didn't get what was going on because there was no music for
Yeah.
Andrade. And I don't think they understood that Vicky was introducing Andrade. But what did you think how
Yeah.
they executed that?
I think one, it could have been better.
Okay.
It definitely could have been better. Could have got it done something where it could have got an even bigger pop.
I
But
agree.
like the one thing that AEW does do well is their video segments.
Yes.
Like if they would have just left it as a video segment and video pop, it would
Hmm.
have been great.
I think if
Him
they
bringing them
did,
out was kind of a little bit. It seemed off.
I think it just didn't seem spontaneous enough. I think if they did some sort of video with music or something that says like Andrade and then
Hmm.
like just spell it out better, I think fans would have taken to it more.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that one.
I think the fans were lukewarm to it there because they just didn't understand what was going on and it didn't really register. Hey, Andrade is here,
Yeah.
and I don't think they understood that Vicky was introducing him. But I could be wrong there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think you're right on that point. I think
Okay,
it just wasn't. There was no big. It got the first time he came out, everybody was like, "Ah, going crazy." After that, it kind of like the luster came off a little bit.
okay. So this week on Dynamite, we had some advancement with Death Triangle feuding with the Young Bucks. So Death Triangle, Pac and Penta El Zero. Miedo teamed up with Eddie Kingston and they beat Brandon Cutler and the Young Bucks. So I think that feud's interesting so
Yeah.
far. I don't know if Pac and Penta are gonna beat Young Bucks, but I'd be okay if they did at some point.
Yeah. I just
Got to
like
give those
seeing.
guys a bone at some point.
Yeah, and I like seeing Penta
Penta's
wrestle.
great.
It's exciting. Even the last night's match was just so much fun to watch. It gives
Unfortunately,
me
Ray
so much
Phoenix
fun.
is injured right now, so that's why he's not on TV at the moment.
Yeah, and that's the thing that sucks because both of them together is
Yeah.
just another level. They take tag team wrestling to another level.
Okay. Miro defended the TNT title against Evil Uno.
Hmm.
Um,
But
Submitted him with
that was all Miro.
huh? Yeah,
That was all.
it was a decent little spirited effort.
Yeah.
I don't think you needed Dark Order to come out and like root him on just
Hmm.
because they watched their guy just get crushed
Yeah.
by Miro. But
Why do that to -1 as a little kid?
yeah,
You
I
look
kind of
at
felt
you're
bad for negative
losing.
one.
Yeah. Look at here's another guy that I'm beating. Guys are never gonna be anything.
But that said, I think they've kind of done a good job of kind of building Miro back up, and now he's a serious threat
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, I agree.
Nyla Rose pretty much destroyed Layla Hirsch, and it looks like Nyla Rose will be the first major opponent for Britt Baker. So it looks like they're building her back up to
Yeah.
title contention.
Yeah.
Uh, I think that'll be a good first challenge for if she is going to be the first major challenger for Britt Baker. I think that's not a bad idea.
I agree. I
But
agree.
I think you do have to keep the belt on Britt Baker for a while.
Oh yeah, you have she did earn
A
that
good six
time.
months. Like I'm saying, like at least 6 months.
Yeah, I agree because you deserve like she earned that time to be a champion. She needs to hold the belt for some time.
Okay, so here's one thing I think AEW is doing really well. I think they pushed back Jungle Boy versus Kenny Omega for the AEW title. They moved it to June 26th. So they're going to be building it up. So they're kind of building it up like a pay-per-view match, but it's going to be on live free TV.
Hmm.
And I think that's a good way to do it because it gives, they're giving more TV time to Jungle Boy. They're giving more TV time to this feud. And while I don't expect Jungle Boy to win, I think kind of giving it that pay-per-view like build up on TV is good for that matchup.
Yeah, Yeah, I think it's a great idea as well because at least I mean, he deserves that type of spotlight if you're fighting for the belt.
Okay, and also we're still doing the Hangman Page and Team Taz. In the main event, 10 and Hangman Page beat Brian Cage and Powerhouse Hobbs. So that was AEW Dynamite this week. Here's a quick rundown for Dynamite next week. It'll be an MMA rules cage fight. However, that's going to work between Jake Hager and Wardlow.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be a fun matchup at least. Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes is going to team with Arn Anderson's son, Brock Anderson, against QT Marshall and Aaron Solo. Jim Ross will be interviewing Andrade. Penta, Eddie Kingston, and Kazarian are going to team up against Matt Jackson and the Good Brothers. Oh, okay. So we're getting a little AEW Impact crossover there. Orange Cassidy versus Cesar Bononi. And Darby Allin is going to face Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page in a handicap match. Darby Allin requested Sting. Last night he requested Sting not to help him or escort him for this match because he has something to prove to himself.
Yeah.
I guess he feels Sting is taking too much of the shine away from him, or Sting won the match at the pay-per-view, so now Darby needs to do it on his own.
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts on how Dynamite looks next week, Mike?
It looks okay. I'm most interested in one, seeing what they do with this Andrade thing and how they're gonna take it.
Yes.
And second would be Darby Allin facing.
What are the chances that Andrade beats up JR or sets him on fire?
10%.
Okay.
Even that's a lot.
I don't think they've really done that. JR getting beaten up in AEW yet. But remember how, like, whenever JR would do an interview in WWE, it would always end badly for him. Mm-hmm. Going back, do you remember when he first interviewed Mankind back in the 90s?
Yep.
Mankind gave him the mandible claw. Mm-hmm. And then when he interviewed Kane, remember when he interviewed Kane and Kane set him on fire?
Yep.
Okay. So, but I don't think I feel like I guess they treat JR a little better in the interviews here, so I don't think Andrade is going to attack him. But
no,
I just like to.
He has some health issues, so I don't know if he could take
it
anymore. So,
but I just like to point out how whenever there would be like a special interview with Jim Ross in WWE or WWF back in the day, it would always end with like JR just getting like killed by the bad guy, you know?
I agree.
Triple H, like either Triple H, Kane, Mankind, they would just annihilate poor JR. So fortunately, I don't think that's going to happen next week.
I agree with you.
Brock Anderson making his AEW debut.
He looks just like Arn.
It's crazy, yeah.
He looks just like, even the hair that he's losing is like in the exact same places.
Yeah. He's a chip off the old block, isn't he?
But I could tell that he's not used to this whole wrestling game. He's not in it yet, because when Arn got strapped or like got hit with the belt,
yeah,
he kind of just stood there like, what do I do next? What do I do next? Oh, let me go after him. It's like, it shouldn't be that hard. Like with your dad, like if your dad
I don't want to say, you know, like the guys, he's green. So we'll see if he can. We'll see if he can learn and find his way. Some guys, some guys have it. Some guys it takes a while.
Exactly.
Cody. I mean, look, when Cody first started in WWE, he was green as hell too.
Mm-hmm.
It took Cody a while, a couple years to really find himself.
Yeah,
but I
think with Cody, when he left WWE is where he really found his shine.
But I mean, do you think now that Andrade is actually in AEW, do you think he will be like the face of the Latinos, and do you think he will be a main event level star?
I think he needs to earn it, because Penta and Rey Fenix,
right,
really, really shown they control AEW when it comes to Latino wrestling there, because it is like they took it to another level at AEW.
I think get Andrade in there with the right opponent, get the right type of matchup, and I think he will start getting the respect of the
Oh yeah,
AEW audience.
yeah, but he needs to start wrestling and
Oh
like
yeah, but
soon.
Andrade I think he was an undervalued wrestler in the ring in
Yeah,
WWE.
yeah, I think so too.
Okay, so now moving right along. So tomorrow we have NXT Takeover.
Oh, and before we
Oh,
go into NXT Takeover with AEW,
yes.
the next time NWA sends a new women sends the women's championship or sends the women's champion to if they do to AEW, there's a new women's champion at
That's
NWA.
right, because they had Serena Deeb
And
lost the title.
yeah, she lost the title and
It's
yeah,
Camille. It's Camille
yeah,
won it at
Camille.
our When Our Shadows Fall last
Yeah,
weekend.
yeah, she's
So
the
that was
champ.
after our last show. So
Mhm.
Camilla won the title. So Serena Deeb is no longer NWA Women's Champion. But I mean, I guess we could see Camilla show up in AEW because there is crossover there. There you
Yeah,
go.
exactly. That's why I say you
There's
probably can
Thunder
see it.
Rosa. There's Thunder Rosa, Serena Deeb, and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's gonna be good, and we also have Melina and NWA.
Oh, and Kylie Ray.
Yeah,
Kylie Ray is now. Yeah, Kylie Ray debuted at When Our Shadows Fall. She's now signed to NWA. I don't think we're going to be seeing her in AEW because she was signed to AEW, but asked for her release because I don't really even want to talk about it too much. But
I don't even know
you
what
know,
happened and all that.
I think it's her. How do I want to be sensitive about the way I phrase this. I think she has personal anxiety issues, and I think I guess smaller shows and events are probably more
So kind of like stage fright, I guess.
doable for her. I don't know if I don't know because I think it's I'm not an expert in this field, and I don't know the best way to phrase it. So maybe I don't know if you would call it stage fright, um, mental health, personal anxiety issues,
hmm
and I think so maybe a smaller show, a smaller event is more doable for her, and I think that's probably why she signed with NWA, but I'm not certain. But she is signed with NWA now, and now Mickey James, the other big
Yeah,
NWA announcement, Mickey James will be working with NWA to produce an all women's pay per view called, I believe it's called Empower, and it will debut in August, and it will be an all women NWA pay per view event. So there you go.
and that's something that one I'm not shocked that she's at NWA
Yeah,
because who's the champion?
Nick Aldis, her husband,
Exactly.
right?
So it's
It
makes
makes
sense.
sense.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Exactly.
Um.
And then also too, there was a just to bring up on another topic, Wrestling Incorporated had put out a story saying Billy Corgan reveals AEW versus NWA match has been pitched to Tony Khan.
What match is that?
Don't know. I guess it was on Busted Open Radio, which we even get some of our news at Busted Open Radio. Corgan explained his wrestling philosophy, believed that wrestling has swung so far in one direction that the old has become the new. And this is what he said. This is what Corgan said. I'm kind of reaching a point where to me the old school is the new school, Corgan said. Professional wrestling has swung so far in the other direction. I can't believe I'm actually making a case that the tradition that existed for 70 or 80 years is the future. But I'm a firm believer and I have a lot of meetings with people behind the scenes who feel very disconnected by the current wrestling product on television. And I don't
Hmm.
necessarily mean that as a criticism. Every company that's successful at the top level is doing what they think is best to best serve their fans. But traditionally, professional wrestling was a very mainstream product, and many people have made the case in the last 10 years as wrestling was while wrestling has a kind of marched off in different directions. You've left a lot of the common people standing on the sidelines, wondering what happened to the wrestling that I grew up with.
Okay, I think the match he's talking about is Nick Aldis versus Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
That match did happen a couple times, but that was pre AEW.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if they're going to do that again. I think Cody won the first one and won the NWA title in 2018. Yeah. Then I think Nick Aldis won the rematch. So I guess they could do like a rubber match.
Yeah, and then they between those two. Ring of Honor, where it was Cody and versus Aldous. I think
they did one at Ring of Honor, and I think they did one at All In, the first All In.
Yeah.
I want to say, let's see, and that was September 2018. Let's see, Cody beat Nick Aldis for the NWA title at All In 2018. So that was, and then I think he lost it back to Nick Aldis, probably in Ring of Honor. I want to say.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
But yeah, so Mickie James is going to be executive producing the women's pay-per-view. Okay, so now we can get into NXT TakeOver in your house. So that is Sunday, June 13th. So that's tomorrow. It'll be on Peacock. It will have live. Apparently, they'll have more live fans in attendance at the Capitol Wrestling Center. Dave Meltzer is saying on Observer Radio they'll have up to 300 people. Previously, it's been like 80 people at NXT, so they're going to be able to more than triple that.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the lineup for tomorrow. Let's see. Honestly, I'm not sure what the main event is going to be. All right, so let's go with for the North American title. It'll be Bronson Reed and MSK versus Legado del Fantasma. Okay, Santos Escobar, Joaquin Wilde, and Raul Mendoza. Okay, I see what they're doing. This is like the old in your house, like 1990s matches where they would do those tag matches with all the titles on the line. Yep. So it's a winner takes all match, 6-man tag match for the NXT and tag team titles. So Bronson Reed is putting the North American title on the line, and MSK is putting the tag team titles on the line against Legado del Fantasma. I don't think we're going to see a title change here.
I don't think so either. I don't think so. It'd be interesting if they did.
Yes,
because that would be something that you don't see that often.
Okay, well here's my issue here, Mike. I like Santos Escobar. I like Legado del Fantasma, but they have not been built like they're cruiserweights.
Yeah,
they haven't been building these guys up as a serious threat for these titles. You know what I mean?
Oh, I agree. I agree with what you're saying.
So that's why I don't expect them to win for these titles. Yep. Okay, so whichever team wins takes home all the titles, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, for the NXT Women's here we go. Okay, Raquel Gonzalez versus Ember Moon. I like Ember Moon a lot. She's losing here for sure.
I agree with you on that one as well. I think Raquel Gonzalez, she has to have a long run. Ember Moon isn't gonna topple her.
I'm Raquel Gonzalez is gonna have a long run with this title. She's a beast. She's a monster. I just hope when the time comes for her to move up to the main roster, they do not fumble with her as badly as they have with some women in the past. Look at Ember Moon, you know?
Yeah.
Ember Moon was women's champion and then had an unsuccessful run on the main roster.
Exactly. And look at what they did the first time that Rhea Ripley came up. And she had the
that's right.
She fought Charlotte Flair. They didn't really do much with her. She appeared on a couple SmackDown episodes, and it was just
that one was for the NXT title though.
Yeah, but still, you bring her up to the main card for that. So
okay, so Mercedes Martinez versus Zia Lee. So who do you think they're trying to push more here?
To be honest, I don't know. I don't know what they're. I really.
This one. You see,
it's kind of odd.
This match is the toughest call for me because I'm not sure who they want to win.
Yeah.
Because Zia Lee, they've been building her up with all those vignettes and everything this whole time, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
And then they've been doing that thing with Martinez that she had that image, that symbol on her hand that she saw that came mysteriously out of nowhere.
Zealy. I'm gonna just pick
Yeah,
Zealy.
yeah. I'll
Toss up
go.
though.
I'll go the opposite to make it a little bit more entertaining and go with Martinez.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Okay. So a ladder match. And the winner will be the $1 million title from Ted DiBiase. So it'll be Cameron Grimes versus LA Knight in a ladder match.
Yeah, we already know you're going to the moon. Is that correct?
What was that?
You're going to the moon, right?
Why?
Because you're choosing Cameron Grimes. That's what he's
Yeah.
been using lately.
Okay, to the moon.
Going to
Yeah.
the moon. So
We're going to the moon, and I'm picking Cameron Grimes. Yes.
Yeah, I'm going with Cameron Grimes as well. I think he's a better. Ever since that whole making the money off a GameStop type of scenario that they've been going with, it's actually been very entertaining for me, and I really started liking the character.
I liked, when they did the whole GameStop and Dogcoin promo. That was a great promo. So yeah, I do want. I think you got to give it to Cameron Grimes. I think he could be a huge star.
Do you think Ted DiBiase is going to be showing up more after this?
I don't know if he'll be showing up more, but I think he will continue like showing up in like sort of like an on-screen role, kind of like NXT does a good job of like bringing those kind of legends back in and using them on a recurring basis, like Paul Ellering.
Yeah,
I think the Authors of Pain. I think the Authors of Pain were at their best when they had Paul Ellering as their manager. Yeah. And then they didn't have when they went to the main roster. They didn't have Paul Ellering, and I don't think they were as successful. Okay, finally, I assume this is going to be the main event. It'll be a fatal 5-way match for the NXT title. Karrion Kross versus Kyle O'Reilly versus Adam Cole versus Johnny Gargano versus Pete Dunne. The only guy I would want to win if Karrion Kross does not retain is Pete Dunne.
That's a good pick. That's a good pick. The reason why you would want?
Because Pete Dunne is, I think he's a legit badass. He looks like a tough guy. He looks like he could break you in half. He's got the look, the attitude, the aura, and he's great in the ring. To me, he's the total package. Am I picking? No, but I'm picking Karrion Kross. I want Pete Dunne to win, but I'm picking Karrion Kross.
See, and that's the thing. I know Karrion Kross is going to win this thing. He's going to keep the belt. If it wasn't for Karrion Kross, there's some like if this whole way gimmick was not going around, I would have picked. I would like to see Johnny Gargano win it.
Yeah,
but or even Adam Cole, I like to see. But I think with the storyline that they're working with and what they're going to do with Adam Cole, I think doesn't fit with that whole championship motif, at least not yet. When I look at all the guys, Karrion Kross is the guy who's going to wind up coming out on top, and he'll still be holding the belt.
But Pete Dunne, I want to see Pete Dunne win it eventually, just because I feel like, they had him on NXT UK for a while, and now he's in NXT, and I think it'll be a gradual progression for him, and I think he'd be a great champion for NXT, and I think he's just great everywhere. But I don't think he's gonna win. I think it's gonna be Karrion Kross. Okay, so that is.
And we all win with Scarlett Bordeaux, right?
I mean, I can't. She's she is quite something. I'll say that much.
Yep.
And we are going to be seeing more of her tomorrow. Oh, you know who's not? But you know who's not on this card? Frankie Monet.
Oh yeah, she'll probably pop up somewhere.
I mean, no offense to Zia Lee, but I probably would have liked to have seen Frankie Monet wrestle on this card.
What's funny too is like I didn't even know Karrion Kross is Puerto Rican. I did not.
Really? Are you serious?
Yes.
He does not. I mean,
I was looking into his background because I was kind of curious to see.
His real name is Cesar. Caesar? Caesar? Am I saying that right?
Cesar.
Cesar? So he's Puerto Rican. I had no idea.
Yeah, like I remember seeing him in Ring of Honor, and I was trying to figure out, okay, how did that all come?
I know Damian Priest is Puerto Rican.
Well, yeah, that one's obvious because he speaks Spanish in the shows now, and
Okay.
he was doing that when Bad Bunny
Oh,
was.
that totally throws me
But
for a
I
loop. I
was,
had no idea. I
yeah,
had
I
no
was
idea he
like,
had that background.
yeah, he's from New York. He's Puerto Rican descent. I was like, wow, and I wonder if one day he will ever have like that chance to on WWE to be able to really show something like that.
Okay.
I mean, I know it's far
Because
fetched.
it's never really been like part of his character, really.
Exactly, exactly.
Because I look at him, he looks more like a Goldberg type,
Hmm.
And Goldberg is Jewish,
Yeah,
is
exactly,
Jewish.
exactly. But it just kind of, I was just like,
Wow,
what?
I had no
I had
idea.
no
That's
idea
so
that
interesting.
he was Latino.
That's so
So
interesting.
it,
Wow.
it's it's kind of it's nice to see that even though they don't really say much about it. I mean, it's nice to see.
Do you think he hid that part of his background intentionally?
Uh, I don't think so. Probably for WWE, yes. I don't think he's done it in Ring of Honor or any place
Wow.
else.
That's
And I
very
think he
fat.
does it.
Yeah.
And I think
You
he
learn.
fits
I mean,
persona.
I had no idea, but that's very interesting. But
Yeah,
yeah, good for him.
but I think his persona and what they sell as Karrion Cross in
Yeah.
WWE, you don't need to know that because he's supposed to be a mysterious figure
Yeah. Yeah.
type
Yeah.
thing. So it doesn't really play in.
Okay, so here's something else that was interesting. I mentioned Authors of Pain earlier, the
Mhm.
former WWE and NXT tag team champions. They were released from WWE last September, and there was a report from Fightful that a promoter said they were retired, and then they posted on Twitter that they're not done. What do you think is going on with Authors of Pain? Do you think they're going to try to get back in, uh, or what? What do you make of those reports?
I don't know. I would think that you would have seen him wrestle somewhere right now already,
All right.
but I don't think
Maybe they
it's
just haven't been wanting to wrestle because of the pandemic, though.
possible.
But they did. They both guys publicly posted on their Twitters that they're not done, and they posted the same tweets. So it seems like they have plans to wrestle again, and they'll probably team with each other. But I don't know. I
I
don't
don't
know
know.
where they might end up. See, I'm looking at a picture of Cross right now, and like he doesn't. I would not have guessed. I would not have guessed. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying.
You do know we look like everybody, right?
Huh?
We all
Are
look
you
like
Puerto Rican?
everybody. No, I'm not Puerto Rican. I'm Mexican, but
Huh?
Mexican, like my family was from Mexico, Spain,
Yeah.
born and
Yes.
raised there.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Hmm.
Like Ronda Rousey is mixed.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I think she's South. I think she's South American. I think on her mother's side, I believe.
hmm, yeah.
But
That's what I say. Like we could play in
yeah,
anything. We could play anything, Middle Eastern.
yeah, pretty much
Africa.
yes.
There you go.
You can play, yeah, in Asian
Uh huh.
in some cases, yes,
Yeah. Should I bring my
yeah,
dad in so that we could show that? Sorry, Dad. I didn't want to do that for the show, but my dad looks Asian, and he's been mistaken as Asian when
yeah.
when we go to the
Well,
store.
but you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
Yeah, I know
Because
what.
I was surprised when I heard that because I didn't know.
Yeah, I didn't know either.
I
I
did.
had no clue.
I mean, now had I heard I didn't know Karrion Cross's real name. Had I saw his real name, I was like, okay, that kind of that sounds like a Latin name.
Hmm.
You
And I didn't
know,
know he wrestled in AAA.
I did not know that either,
Mhm.
and because
That's why.
because sometimes you have if you have a Latin name, it might be you might have a more Sephardic origin, like
Hmm.
like Spanish being like Spain,
Yeah,
which is part of Europe. But yeah,
and that's what trips me out. Like he was in Lucha Underground,
he
which I
what?
don't even remember.
I
Which one
didn't
was
watch
that?
much Lucha Underground though. I went to one. I did go to a set of tapings, and Rey Mysterio was there.
Hmm. Yeah,
And I don't have much time to watch. Okay, so he did wrestle in AAA. He's wrestled pretty much everywhere.
yeah. It's
Yeah,
been
so
around.
he's been
Impact.
around. Yeah, he's been around a little while.
Yeah, so I mean, that's why I say it's good to see these guys who have traveled and been around, and now he's at WWE and really making a force. So it's like he isn't somebody who just came out of nowhere. And I think that's what's cool is that you see they didn't stay in one organization like some guys from WWE do.
Okay, so I guess the question is now, Michael, will you be going to SummerSlam? Just moving to Vegas in August.
If I could get tickets, yes.
Okay. Just rent a house in Vegas. Rent a mansion.
Well, luckily I have a friend who lives in Vegas, so I
Okay.
have a couple friends who live in Vegas, so that makes it easier. But I would
Is your
go.
friend Gordon Ramsay?
No, it would be
Okay.
nice because then I'll have a.
Are they Penn and Teller?
No, that's not him either. No, nobody who actually has like a mansion or anything like that. No,
Okay.
but yeah, I would go if I'm able to get a ticket. I would like to go see it if we're able to cover it for WWE, which I'm hoping that's what we do. We'll guarantee that we'll be there and we'll do a live show there. But right now I don't know. I don't know yet. We're still up in the air.
Yeah, it's up in the air too for me right now, but that'll be interesting, and I'll be curious to see how many tickets they can actually sell
Yeah.
for that event. But I think they'll draw a good sized crowd. Okay. Any other big takeaways for this week before we sign off?
No, actually, I think it's good. It wasn't that big of a week.
Right.
Uh,
Not a lot of firings this week.
exactly. It was a good breather week. There were some good matches. I still think Raw needs to improve on the show. SmackDown was okay. AEW was good. It's just a good week. Good week in wrestling. So
Yeah, good. A good week without people, thankfully.
exactly
Not
getting let go.
getting let go. Exactly. All right.
Yeah.
I am Jeffrey, the J to the E to the double F free, Jeffrey Harris. You can check out my review of Loki, of Fast Nine, starring John Cena on 411mania.com. You can listen to my other podcast, the 411 Wrestling Interviews Podcast, on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and Google Play. And you can follow me on Twitter at Witcher83.
Yeah, and I'm Mike Sandoval. You can find me at MUSE TV. And also, too, you could listen to this show on we're available now on every podcast place you could actually listen to. This show, you can listen to it at anywhere. The only place we're setting it up with next is Stitcher, and it's everywhere. And we don't have a so hopefully you go on if you're driving somewhere, you want to hear some wrestling news, put on the podcast. Here's the last episodes. They're really good. And we're gonna do more. We're building up on this and we're gonna make it even better and stronger and bigger. So but thank you so much for being a part of this, listening, dropping by. Don't forget, thumbs up, give us 5 stars if you're listening to the podcast. And once again, before we forget, thank you so much to our partners at Tascam who provide us with our with our board, our audio board to be able to put on great quality shows on our end, so that we can really mix the video and really put the audio really good for you guys and get it ready for the podcast and the live stream. So thank you so much, Tascam. They are celebrating their 50th anniversary. So if you're looking to start your own podcast, look at the Tascam Model 12. This thing is amazing. It's well worth you picking it up. And we'll see you next week on This Week in Pro Wrestling.